What's up, people? How you doing? It is a great day, and I have an amazing person here. Miss Gloria Madden is on the show today. Welcome.
Hello there.
Hey. So, okay, Miss Madden, I hear that you are a woman of a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and get right
Oh,
into
yes.
this. Tell us
Well, of
about
course,
yourself.
I retired from office work and I became bored with that. So I volunteered a little bit. And then I found a group of girls who love to play cards. We played canasta. And then one day I seen a robin in a bird bath. And that was in the little triangle garden I had.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day he came back again. So I thought to myself, let me write down a few things and watching the robin, and then I will tell my grandchildren about that. Well, a few words got to be a few lines, a few lines got to be one story.
Wow.
And it seemed to whet an appetite for writing.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
wrote a few more stories,
Mm-hmm.
and that became book one of Grandmother's Bedtime Stories, of which now there are six books in the series. So
Oh,
then,
wow.
sitting in my den, looking out the window and thinking about, oh, it's almost Christmas time. Well, let me see what's going on in the garden. So I wrote a few lines, and then my imagination took off about mermaids because we have a park named Wiki Wachi Mermaid
Mm-hmm.
Theme. So I wrote a little story about the mermaids,
Right.
and my imagination took off again, and I wrote a few more stories, and that book became Christmas and the Candy Cane, which I'm happy to say is doing very well on Amazon and on my website, which is gmaddenfantasy.com.
Okay. Wow. That is amazing. That is totally amazing. Wow. Wow. I mean, just a couple of
Would
lines.
you hear one of my stories?
Yes, definitely.
All righty. This one is called The Mermaid's Christmas Celebration. You have to excuse my hoarse voice.
That's okay.
Once upon a time, there were mermaids living in the enchanted world under the sea. They swam so gracefully through those sea waters, their fins shimmering in the rays of the sun as they shone through the deep waters. The mermaids had gathered at their favorite mountain of laurel and coral for their weekly club meeting. Did you know that mermaids enjoy joining different clubs? The sea waters had cooled down and the season was changing. Winter would soon arrive. The thoughts of winter were sure to start the plans for a Christmas celebration. Each mermaid had a good idea for the celebration. After much discussion, the mermaids decided to have their Christmas party in King Neptune's cave. Oh my goodness. Of course, they would have to get King Neptune's permission before any plans were made. The mermaids approached King Neptune and, with much excitement, explained their request. Holding their breath, They anxiously awaited King Neptune's decision. With a wave of his royal wand, King Neptune nodded his approval. All the mermaids clap their hands and sing a lovely, sweet song that echoes through the sea waters and bubbles upward to the surface. The bubbles bursting through the water and then filling the air with sweet melodies that drifted with the gentle breezes. After a light lunch and a bubbly fruit drink, the mermaids began gathering the decorations for their Christmas celebration. Long trails of seaweed would be draped over the entrance of the cave. Sea urchins would help by attaching their bodies to the green seaweed as decoration. The mermaids knew about an old pirate ship that had sunk to the bottom of the sea many, many years ago. The ship had settled on the sandy bottom. Oh, I am sure it was patiently waiting for someone to explore its treasures. This would be a perfect time to explore the old pirate ship. Some mermaids gathered shiny pieces of brass from the sunken ship hull. Some mermaids explored the inside of the pirate ship as they swam around. They saw something shiny. It began to glisten as the rays of the sun reached the sea bottom and shone through the sunken ship's window. One of the mermaids reached for the object. Why, it was a green glass Christmas tree. Wow, probably stolen from an unsuspecting young sailor during a pirate raid. Years of dirt would have to be removed, and a good cleaning would surely help the little tree to shine bright. The mermaid's eyes were bright with excitement. How lucky they were to have found the pretty glass Christmas tree. With great care, one of the mermaids kept the green glass tree, holding it gently in her arms. She fluttered her fins and swam back to King Neptune's cave. Some of the mermaids had been busy dusting and polishing King Neptune's throne. Oh my goodness, how could there be dust in an underwater cave? Was it just drifting sand? Of course, the mermaids were very careful not to drop or break any of the large seashells that decorated the cave walls. The treasure hunting mermaids arrived with their pieces of shiny brass. Some of the smallest pieces of shiny brass would be hung on those long trails of seaweed. Some of the pieces placed around the inside of the cave walls. Oh my goodness. The little seahorse and his family offered to help. While exploring the sunken pirate ship, Mr. Seahorse had discovered some old paint cans. Papa Seahorse had a great idea. He would use a piece of sea stick to paint all the seahorse family red, blue, and green, resembling Christmas ornaments. Then they would fasten their bodies to the floating seagrass with their tails. Mr. and Mrs. Moray Eel offered to use their electric charge to light the cave for the Christmas party. All the neighbors were invited. The sea turtles were invited. The octopus family was invited. The manatee and his family were invited. all the big and little fish were invited. There were so many different decorations: sea urchins, discarded shells, shiny stars, and colorful coral were used. A little green glass tree was placed on top of a small table that was rescued from the sunken ship. A treasure chest with the lid left open and full of shiny coins was placed next to King Neptune's chair. When all the work was complete, the mermaids called King Neptune to come to his throne. Mr. and Mrs. Moray Eel used their electric charges to light up the cave. The sea turtle family, the octopus family, the manatee family, and all the fish gathered around that little green glass tree as the mermaids were singing their Christmas songs, their sweet voice echoing through the ocean waters and rising up to the surface, filling the air with all their joyous melodies. During the Christmas celebration, King Neptune was seated on his throne that was decorated with brightly colored seashells and shiny white coral pieces that glistened from the electric charges of the Moray Eel family. King Neptune greeted each one of the sea creatures and wished all of them a very Merry Christmas. What a wonderful Christmas celebration it had been. The end.
Wow. And I have to say, wow. Wow. That is beautiful. I mean, I love it. I absolutely
What an
love it.
imagination, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. And you just discovered this because you just wanted to do something for your grandchildren.
Yes, yes,
Wow. Wow. So now that it's become something for other people's grandchildren and something that you are doing because not only do you feel like you need to give it to your grandchildren, but I think other people can enjoy it too. What does that make you feel like?
yes. Oh, it really makes me feel so good. You know, so many of my friends say, "Oh, when are you going to get a check for all this?" I said, that isn't what I'm interested in. I'm interested in other families being able to purchase this book at a decent price and the children to enjoy the stories. I'm not
Yeah,
interested in the money.
I hear you.
I'm retired. I have a pension and I can keep my head above water.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that is a blessing. It definitely is a blessing. And I am telling you, it's just something that, you never know that you have this gift until, you get to the point where it's like, you're just doing it because, you love your kids or you love your grandchildren. And all of a sudden it's like, oh
Years
my
and years
gosh.
ago,
Wow.
when I went to summer school for an English class, I vividly remember the teacher saying, now write a story, make up a story, whatever subject you want to use. So I did, and I was very, very serious. I remember that. And I turned in my paper, and you know what that teacher wrote on that paper? It's the best piece of satire I have ever read. And I was insulted. Here I was being so serious. But maybe that's what got me started writing. I don't know.
Wow.
But that Robin and the Bird Bath sure helped in the beginning.
Wow. Well, this is just wonderful, though. I love it. I love what you've done. And I definitely love that you've continued not only for your own grandchildren, but for others all around the world.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Where can they find your books?
Well, they can go on Amazon or they can type in my website, G in small letters, G Madden Fantasy.com,
Awesome.
where my publisher, Authors Tranquility Press, has made up a lovely little website featuring my book and a few other books that I wrote.
Awesome. Well, I am just so happy for you and happy that you're happy. I mean, and you said you got bored, and that's so cool. I mean, it's just like, most people, like younger people, figure when they retire, it's going to be all good. It's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go on a cruise. But a lot of times it's not like that. And so,
No, I mean, after excuse me, after a short time of retirement, you become bored, and what can I do besides playing cards? And I started writing. I believe the first book was published in 2000.
mm,
And of course, like many other families, I had sadness in my family and I had medical problems, but I kept on writing.
mm-hmm.
So in those coming years, I wrote stories for the series of children's books,
Right.
Grandmother's Bedtime Stories. And there are about 10 individual stories in each book.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one little story and that's it.
Right. Wow. Wow. Well, I am just so happy for you. So happy that you are happy and that you're
Okay.
writing because you love it. And that's the
Yes.
biggest thing about it.
Mhm.
Do stuff you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life.
I've started book 7, but that will take some time
Right.
because wait for the ideas. It sounds strange, but I could wake up at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have an idea all of a sudden, and I'll get up, get my pad and pen, and go sit out in my Florida room and start writing.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I tell you,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that lovely story. And
Oh, you're quite welcome.
the story time, because we're going to be putting this everywhere, and I'm going to go ahead and put your information in the description box below so people can find your books and definitely read them to their kids. I mean, this is wonderful, and their grandchildren too. The journey has just begun.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's
Awesome. Well, thank
yeah.
you.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for having me on your program.
Anytime, anytime. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, don't forget to swim with your mermaid. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.